And man, one of the more tragic tales in wrestling, she wrote a book about her life. And of course, she's been profiled in Dark Side of the Ring. And most everyone listening to this knows what Sonny's life is like right now. But I want to talk about what it used to be like. I think you first worked with Tammy Sitch during your very short stint with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, maybe the second half of 1994. Were you keeping up with Smoky Mountain TV, or are you really just trying to drink water from a fire hose when you get there?
No, I kept up with it because Cornette's a friend, and I was always amazed at what he did with less resources uh, to make his promotion acceptable and successful. Uh, she was a diamond in the rough. She kind of stood out in that field. And there's good old Bob Cottle and Sonny with that blonde hair.
What were your first impressions of a young Tammy when you first saw her and met her?
She had star power. She had something. Uh, she had a look and a spirit that was admirable, to say the least. So, but I was always a fan of her work. She wanted to be a heel. She was really good at uh, projecting herself and had a lot of sex appeal in an era where, unlike today, where there's a, no no limits on sex appeal. There's a lot of these women today have got their act down. They know what the hell they're there for, and they know what they're doing. So, but I thought she had star power written all over her.
I wanted to get your take on how you think they got into the WWF. I know they signed in early '95. We're talking about Tammy and her boyfriend at the time, Chris Candido.
Mhm.
You're not really running talent relations yet. I think that's JJ Dillon's spot. If you had to guess, do you think this is a Jim Cornette recommendation that he wants him to come here instead of working for him? Or is it
Yeah.
Bruce's brother, Dr. Tom, who's maybe seeing some talent there and recommending it to Bruce? Or how do you think she wound up signing with the
Well,
WWF?
Cornette had a lot to do with it. Cornette had a lot to do with it. He endorsed her. He had groomed her. He had trained her. So, and that's generally a recipe for success. He had a great eye for talent, and she was one of his primary and more viable talents. And her being a female in that era was unique. So she just along the way, it's one of those deals where it's too much too soon, in my opinion. She made some bad decisions that she's living through now. I saw this the other day where they had a hearing in the prison that she's in to try to get her out early. Not I don't know if parole's the right word. I don't, but she just she made a lot of bad decisions and she's very bright, but she just had she made some bad calls, and now she's paying for it.
So listen, let's talk about it. I think the story of Tammy and Chris is, she was a super fan at the matches, saw this young handsome wrestler and said, "Oh, I want him to be my boyfriend." That's how this all started. He's chasing his dream and winds up moving down to Tennessee to work with Jim Cornette. And next thing you know, she follows him. Cornette sees something in her, puts her on TV. And it's actually Tammy who winds up on WWE programming first. The newsletters were saying that Candido had signed and he's going to be coming in January of 1995. And that means the NWA is going to need to find itself a new champion. Meanwhile, the speculation is Tammy is going to come in as an on air broadcaster, not a manager like she'd been in Smoky Mountain. Around that same time, Stephanie Wyand wound up getting the job. Charlie Min was also maybe looking for a way out. So perhaps he is going to be replaced by Stephanie, or the newsletters are thinking maybe it's actually going to be Tammy. We do see Tammy on air doing live event centers as Tamara Murphy. So before we ever saw her as Tammy Sitch or Tammy Fitch or Sunny on WWE programming. Tamara Murphy. What do you think about her as a talking head for WWE? That would have been crazy if this would have stuck, right?
Yeah, it would have. She had a lot of potential. Someone that was very green, had no really significant training. She just was a natural at it. Great gift of gab, and as you said, Conrad, she was a fan since she was a kid. So she had some product knowledge, and sitting under the Cornette learning tree was not a bad thing. So she was she had a, she did amazingly well for someone that had very little training, and I think that speaks well for her attitude and her desire to be a star. And she certainly became a star without a doubt. She came along at the right place at the right time, as far as the female side of the equation, and she led the way for a lot of the women today that are making big money. I had somebody told me the other day that there are women in the pro wrestling business right now making seven figures.
Oh, multiples.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Good for them. Good for them. It's came a long way since the days I was babysitting Moolah and May.
Shout out to your friend Becky Lynch, who just signed a new contract. Well, I'll say your friend. She's a great gal.
Yeah,
But shout out to Becky Lynch. I mean, signing a new contract with WWE, allegedly, according to Fightful.com. That's a big win for WWE and probably for the Rollins Lynch household, if I had to guess.
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah, she's a seven-figure person.
Yeah,
no doubt. And good for her. She is a friend. I helped get her started, and it was not a hard. That wasn't a hard decision to make to cast your lot with her, because she had a great work ethic and desired to be a star. So, but I'm a big fan of Becky Lynch. She's got the attitude, the look, and all that, and I'm glad that she stopped long enough to have a baby.
Yeah.
Moms like to have babies, and so she did, and so I'm anxious to see how she does when she comes back. She didn't come back this week, did she? Or
Oh no, she's not back on the air yet. No.
So that'll be cool. That'll be cool. She's a good one. And but you go back to the roots of all this stuff, and Sonny was at the forefront of this women's movement. Sexy, product knowledge in place, all that good stuff. So it's an exciting time. Women were treated like shit for so long, and I'm glad that they got a break. They meaning women, and now it seems like women are just as viable as the males. At least that's my take on it. They're fun to watch, and they're unique, and they have big personalities and a great look and all that stuff. So it's really good. It's good stuff. Rhea Ripley's one of my favorite talents.
Yep.
She's a hoss, no doubt about it. A lot of sex appeal with her, and in a unique way. And so these women are able to reinvent themselves and move forward in a positive manner. And the Rhea Ripleys of the world, and the Liv Morgans of the world, and Mercedes Moné, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a big Tony Storm fan, and I'm glad that she's back on TV. I think she adds a lot to the program. She's a sweetheart of a person. So it's good to see these ladies get their just rewards for their efforts and the time put in.